Hello, Sarah of SEK Handmade here, and today I want to share with you how to make a magic ring. Friends, this is one of those techniques that I know you're going to think I'm being dramatic here, but it changed my crafting life. I love it that much. Some people can find it a little finicky at the beginning, but with some practice, it's really easy to use. I'm going to give you all the tips so that you can get it just right. Let's go. Friends, I feel like every once in a while in your crochet crafting career, you come across a technique that you're like, oh, wow, I wish I had known that sooner. And for me, the magic ring is one of those techniques. I hate chaining a few chains, joining them in a circle, and then working back into them like you do when you work a circle or the start a center of a granny square. That always drove me nuts. And when I found the magic ring, I was like, this is the solution to everything. It takes a little practice, but once you get the hang of it, I'm sure you're going to love it just as much as I do. All right, so you have your end of your yarn, and then you have your working yarn that is coming from your ball that you'll end up working whatever you're making with. You want to take the end of your yarn and loop it underneath your working yarn. So it is on the bottom and your working yarn is on top. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to pinch where those meet. And I'm going to tension my yarn like I normally do. And then I'm going to swap. So I've got my magic ring and I've got my working yarn tensioned as I normally would. Then I'm going to insert my hook through my magic ring. I'm going to grab my yarn and pull it through the ring. Then, do you see how my ring collapsed on me there? This is one of the toughest parts. So I'm going to take and put my pinky and my ring finger inside the ring so that it just holds it open. All right. Then you're going to chain however many chains you need. So I just chained 2, and then I'm going to work some double crochets around through my magic ring. So I'm going back into the center and I'm going to just work some double crochets. All right. And as I work here, I find what is really important is keeping a hold of my ring and keeping it held open with my other fingers. Now that I have a stitch done, I'm not going to pull. The only way I'm going to pull on the magic ring is by pulling my tail here. So it gets a little easier after that first stitch. So I'm just going to make some more double crochets. Yarn over. See, I'm holding my ring open, still pinching with my middle finger and my thumb, holding my ring open with my ring finger. Yarn over, go around the magic ring, and then create your double crochet. And you just keep going, inserting your hook into the center of the magic ring and working your stitches. Now, once you get to a certain point, I find that ring then is like too big. The way you're going to tighten that ring, and I like to do this a little ways, kind of in the middle, you're just going to pull your tail here, and that's going to tighten it. Now, don't go too crazy there because you're still going to want to be able to fit your fingers in there to work around. Work around the magic ring. So let's see. I'm going to work a few more stitches because you need enough stitches to make a circle, right? So keep going into the center. Let me show you one more time, slow motion. Yarn over through the center, pull up a loop, complete my double crochet. And then once I feel like, once you've completed however many stitches and whatever stitches your pattern tells you, you are going to join in the round a lot of times. And so to get my stitches, you can see I have a big, huge gap between my first stitch and my last stitch. You're going to go ahead and take your tail and you're going to give it a tug, and that will close up the center of that circle. And then you can just join with a slip stitch. And that gives you a nice little round circle there. And what I love about using the magic ring is you can take, within reason, I like to kind of hold the center of my circle and then take and just tug gently, and it'll tighten up that center of your circle. Now, if in the past one of your uh, troubles with the magic ring has been that it comes undone, my recommendation is that you take this tail, put it on a yarn needle, and then just continue going through all of those stitches. See, these are the center of the stitches around my magic loop, and that I would go around, make full circle at least a couple more times. And then it probably wouldn't hurt. And I just do that a few stitches at a time. And you can see I'm continuing to tug to make sure that my center stays nice and tight. If you leave a nice long tail, it's not hard to go around a few times. I also think sometimes, depending on how many times you go around, it gives a nice little plushiness to that center. And then if you were really worried, or if you've had trouble in the past, you could go ahead and weave your end through some stitches, just up and down and back and forth, to make sure that it really, really stays in place. And that is how you create a magic ring. I hope with some practice and all of my tips and tricks that you will use and love this technique. It is definitely one of my personal favorites. It is always my goal to help you grow confidently in your craft. If you felt that this video did that, I would love it if you would subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and maybe even share it with a friend who might also like this technique. Be sure to check out the description below for all sorts of places to follow along and other videos and patterns that you might find helpful and fun. Subscribe to my newsletter if you would like to be made aware of all news SEK Handmade related. Thank you so much for joining me today, and happy crafting!